Are you curious or maybe even nervous about where the markets are going? Do you want to know more? Come on and take a macro analysis deep dive with me. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin, the NASDAQ, the S&P, gold, and more, even the dollar index, to show you what could be happening in the week ahead and the months ahead on this macro technical analysis video. Jump on in with me right now. Let's do it. So the first asset we're going to take a look at is Bitcoin. That's what I mainly trade on a daily basis. Let's take a look at what's happening here to BTC. Now, the one thing that I talked about over and over again, if we remove the moving averages just for a second to look at a nice naked chart, so to speak, we have swing up to swing up. We had swing down to swing down on the RSI, and that is what's called hidden bullish divergence. I pulled the Fibonacci from this wick to that wick, and it gave me a 618 between the 618 and the 0.65. That's the golden pocket right there. We wicked right to it, tapped into it just a bit. And that's a very bullish sign when you have oversold stochastics on the weekly. You have hidden bullish divergence, and you've bounced off of the golden pocket. I've seen that before right here. Exact same scenario here, and it was a macro bottom for Bitcoin that ended up taking us further to the upside. Low stochastic, hidden bullish divergence with the swing, the RSI swinging down while the price action swinging up, and then bouncing off the 618 golden pocket. They're identical movements here, as you can see. Also, we are still in the beautiful uptrend. That hasn't changed. Same thing here. We were in a beautiful uptrend. And then we bumped and run the trend line, and we lost it. As long as you stay above that trend line, Bitcoin remains bullish for a continuation to the upside, right? One macro thing that I have never really shown and really thought about, and it is pure speculation here, but we do this a lot on the other time frames, is the fact that this is probably going to make maybe some type of inverted head and shoulder here. Come back up to 100,000, back down to 92K, make the right shoulder, and then rip out of here. And that measured move would take us somewhere to about, I don't know, let's see on the macro, that's going to take us to $161,000 Bitcoin by December of 2025. And suggest that we could get to 160K, and then the market could kind of start to pull back. But $150,000, $160,000 Bitcoin is definitely possible and on the table. What do we want to know? Well, the weekly candle closes on Sunday night. I will be there for a weekly candle close on YouTube, so come on in for that. If you're watching this video and you want to see a continuation, that would be a great video to jump on in to see. I do go live every single day, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday nights, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 Eastern Daylight Savings Time, and Saturday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. But that's a beautiful, bullish engulfing candle on the weekly too. It's huge and it looks great, and it's getting above weekly support. I just want to make sure the weekly candle closes above that support. So we'll bring this down here, and you can see where we previously bounced. I would like to see this candle close above 93,006, 93.5. As long as we stay above 93.5, I'm happy. If we go below that, there's a chance you could slip all the way back down because there's not a lot of weekly support. So I want to see this candle close above weekly support. That's what I'd like to see. The daily also looking good, but very overbought. And what I'm looking at for the daily is possibly some sideways price action. We're a little far away from the 21-day moving average, but we did get above the 200. I'm looking for price action to possibly make an upward trending flag, something like this, while it drags the 21 towards it, and then we can continue to the upside on a run. So on your macro scale, I don't want to get too into any smaller time frames here, but on a macro scale, we want to make sure that we're above 93,005 on the weekly, and we'd like to see the daily just continuing to hold up. Preferably, if it does come back down, it could happen. We just do not want to lose the 200 MA, and it would be nice if we don't lose 90,500 there on the daily too as well. So we're looking for daily supports to hold. We're looking for the 21 to get back to price action and a continuation further to the upside. But right now, I see no reason why Bitcoin can't continue to $100 and even to $107,000, in the coming few weeks. If we hold shift, like the fastest this could happen possibly on a macro scale, possibly, 10 days. In 10 days, we could be at $107,000, $100,000 Bitcoin. So stay on the lookout for this flag. Make sure Bitcoin stays above 93,005 on the weekly and the daily, and we could be in for a bigger move here for BTC. The next asset I like to look at is the total market cap of all of cryptocurrency. All right, that just gives us another idea of where we're going, and you can see it's a similar idea for Bitcoin. It formed the flag, it broke out, but it's not above the 200 MA like Bitcoin is. It's just lagging, and that means because the altcoins are lagging. We're going to need to see Bitcoin to get one more big surge, and then we're going to want to see some liquidity leave Bitcoin, or even just sideways, slowly kind of come out of it, but just people buying and selling, so Bitcoin stays sideways. You don't really notice it. But you want to see liquidity come out of Bitcoin while other people are possibly buying, keeping it sideways. And we want to see that liquidity slide in to the altcoins. We're going to talk about total 3, which is the entire market cap of the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, in a second. But we got this similar story here. Like, we'd like to see this kind of make a lateral or uptrending flag. We don't want to see, you know, and it could be okay, but we don't want to see a pullback here. If this pulls all the way back to the 21, you know, you're just going to be in for a little more pain. But again, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'd like to see us stay above $2.82 trillion, right? So what we're looking for is this kind of flag to stay sideways. Maybe we even get a pump first, and then we start to kind of go sideways. That's also a possibility with the way this market's looking. But I'm looking at more of a bigger push. When we come back next week to go over this, we're either sideways here or pumping out of this. I see more of a bullish move here for the total market cap. And you can see this starts to rip. That's an uptrending kind of, that's like a cup, but it's like a slanted cup. And then I call it half a cup of handle. And then that trend takes us to $4.26 trillion, which would mean a lot of money would be coming back into this market and some for the, for altcoins and Bitcoin. We take a look at a total 3, which is the entire market cap of all the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Same story that we had Bitcoin in, just kind of making that flag below the 200, but above the 21. It's a Bollinger Band effect when the 21 and the 200 kind of encapsulate price action. So what we're seeing here is this and just something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if the alts just go a little sideways, certain ones rip. We make this kind of look what looks like a right shoulder here, and then we're gone. Once we get above that 200 MA on the daily, we're going to fly. And that makes you want to look at the 4-hour right now. A lot of altcoins are above the 200 MA on the 4-hour. That's a bullish sign. That could be the beginning of a macro bull run. It really is. So we're looking for price action to just kind of consolidate here on the 4-hour time frame, and then it's going to look like a huge move is coming for a lot of altcoins. I posted today on my live stream and in the trading group, and there's a lot of altcoins that are getting very tight and look like they're ready and poised for a move. Total 3 is suggesting that we are going to get that move. However, we may get a right shoulder. There could be a deeper pullback. You just do not want to lose the 200 on the 4-hour. We could retest 782 billion. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world before our bigger move on out of here. Looking at the total market cap, though, $821 billion. We're going to get resistance there at 847, and then boom, 972. And then, hopefully these altcoins can get back above that $1 trillion level where, they're strong and we're starting to see a bigger move. But that's Bitcoin, the total market cap of all the cryptocurrencies, and the total market cap of all the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. I see them going sideways, and it seems like when I come back next week, we're either going to be breaking out or getting ready to break out, or maybe we've broken out even a little bit. But I'm more bullish than bearish right now on the macro. The next thing I like to look at is the NASDAQ. I like to take a look at what's happening to the nasty NASDAQ, baby. And I see the NASDAQ in this beautiful inverted head and shoulder. Also, just like some of these altcoins, getting above the 200 MA on the 4-hour time frame with the 21 not far. That's telling me that the NASDAQ is about to rip to the upside. Look for this sideways or a little more uptrending price action. But the similar idea, 21 crosses the 200, and I see a pump. The next target for the NASDAQ would take it to about 20,499. And that's also a bigger idea. See this shoulder, head, right shoulder I got drawn? That takes you to 21,667. I see the money printer coming on, and I see the NASDAQ headed back to the upside in the following few weeks. 2-3 weeks from now, I wouldn't be surprised. By April 30th, even by May, May 6th or 7th, we're somewhere up in here, back above $20,000 on the NASDAQ. That leads me to the S&P futures. I like to take a look at that, and I see the same story here. The inverted head and shoulder getting above. You can see, turn the money printer on, go brrr, a broadening falling wedge with a measured move back to 6236. And I just think it's only a matter of time. We're going to start to pump. The charts are conveying to me, no matter what I think, but the charts are conveying to me, we'll make this flag, 21 will touch, and this will pump out of this flag, just like we're talking about. Altcoins pumping, S&P pumping, the NASDAQ pumping. And that leads me to wondering, well, what's happening? Is Bitcoin dominance going to be letting go? So let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance and see there. Bitcoin dominance is how much money is in Bitcoin compared to the rest of the coins. And it shows there's about to be a big move in Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance is suggesting a pump is happening sooner than later out of bull flag on the 4-hour time frame. But Bitcoin's bullish. The 4-hour is bullish on a lot of different assets, from Bitcoin to many, many altcoins. Previous resistance is support. I know it's a rising wedge, and it was a little sketch, but to me, I feel like it broke out and it's flagging. I see Bitcoin dominance about to go on a tear. One more big move here for Bitcoin. We get to that $100,000 level, and then you're going to see the altcoins absolutely explode, right? So Bitcoin dominance looks pretty good. Now we're going to look at Tether dominance, and you can see that Tether dominance has a shoulder, head, right shoulder, and is in a bear flag, falling out a bigger bear flag. All is headed to plan that people are bailing out of Tether and wanted to get into altcoins. You know, they're looking too good. Their prices are too low and they're too oversold. Why would you want to be in Tether? So Tether's about to drop nicely too as well, showing Bitcoin about to pump. Everything's kind of coming into play here for a nice move to the upside. Let's take a look at the DXY. That should also be in some type of free fall dump formation, and it is. Let's give you the macro for the DXY and kind of start fresh. So the first thing you're seeing is basically cat ears, right? And, you know, we talk about cat ears on the channel a lot, but cat ears is a known bearish pattern where you have these two hills and you tend to drop off to the right side, right? So already off the bat, there's a known bearish pattern on the DXY. It's also below the weekly 200 MA. That's when basically for me that's a bear market. When the weekly has lost the 200 MA, you're in a bear market. So the DXY is in a bear market, all right, in case anyone didn't realize. And maybe it has a saving grace here, possible inverted head and shoulder, but to me it looks more like that bear flag that's going to continue to drop. This drops, real estate goes up in value, right? You're going to see stocks go up in value, and inflation kind of roars its head back again there. If the DXY drops so much that things that are, you know, priced in the dollar that are staying stable are going to have to go up in value, right? It's just how it is. So that would also put pressure on the Fed to cut the rate. So we have pressure for the Fed to cut the rates, Bitcoin getting above key levels, and, you know, the money printing going brrr. Also the S&P and the NASDAQ looking like they're going to respond to that. And it's looking like a good storm here for risk on assets to pump. And then if they cut those rates into September, October, it would be absolutely amazing, or somewhere in the summer as well. I see this flag continuing. Now this could break out and retest. Look out for that. It has some type of inverted head and shoulder vibes, but let's watch it. You know, it's more likely to break down to the downside here on the DXY. I also like to take a look at gold, because why not? I used to trade gold on and off way before Bitcoin even. Remember the last time I looked at gold, I was suggesting we would get a pullback. I felt like we had peaked there at that 35. People felt like it was risk on assets. And then they also started selling gold for Bitcoin. We're going to show you the PAXG BTC chart and show you kind of how that fares too as well real quick. But I see gold taking a hit. People are going to sell it off. It had a nice rally. It was a lot of fear, but now everyone's thinking that the market's going to rip again. They're going to sell the gold, get back into the market, and I see gold taking a hit, you know, probably back somewhere to 29, maybe even to, you know, 31 here, but I see gold pulling back. So a good time to take some profits out of gold if you have it on that right shoulder. Again, do whatever makes you happy, but it's very likely, 68% chance gold is going to be taking a pullback. With that, we'll take a look at PAXG BTC, which is going to show you gold versus Bitcoin. And you can see that that is now taking a big hit. And it's probably a good time to sell your gold for Bitcoin right now. There was a time to maybe hold gold. Now it's time to sell your gold for Bitcoin. It's losing value quickly, and Bitcoin is gaining steam. It looks like it would be a smart move to sell your gold for Bitcoin. But again, you do whatever makes you happy. The charts are just saying that. And the charts have been right most of the time. Last thing I want to talk about is Solana ETH. Sol continues to beat up on ETH. I don't see really a reason to sell your Sol for, your Sol for Ethereum. Get it? But, there could be a comeback. It's kind of a head and shoulder. Watch it closely. But, I mean, it's a breakout with a flag. If this continues to flag out, you know that Solana is just going to continue to take market share on Ethereum. It's faster, quicker, easier to use, has more memes, more action, and more people talk about it, know about it, tweet about it, and use it. So Ethereum's cool, but it's not in the wallet of it doesn't have a wallet in every kid's phone like Solana does. So you just have to remember that. Like, there's no ETH wallet. Like, this is a MetaMask wallet, but it's just not like the Phantom wallet. It's not branded. It doesn't have the same vibe. I see Sol beating up on Ethereum. I hope you loved this video. For me, it did wonders for me. I was able to see the market in a big picture and really get a sense of where we're going without feeling emotions, without getting too crazy and in my head. I hope you like this. If you like this style of technical analysis and you want to learn it, watch me every day from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. My name's Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer. I can't wait to see you on the next live stream. And if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.